The ingredients are given fairly loosely throughout the video, so please check my blog at susansartcircus.com for more details. Thanks. These are some of my favorite things. They're not too sweet, not too not sweet. They're really perfect cookies, and we eat them for breakfast all the time. I'm going to start by rounding up ingredients, and it's a great way to get rid of all those bananas that get too ripe and you don't want to eat them. So I'm making a batch and a half, if you look up the actual recipe. And we're starting off with the bananas, which we're going to mash up. I'm going to add some flax seeds, some non-dairy milk, a little canola oil as we go along, and I'm going to park all the more liquid ingredients directly into my KitchenAid. Just makes it a little bit easier until you get towards the end, because this recipe has over a dozen different ingredients in it. So we're readying the flax. I keep that flax seed in the freezer, which is a great tip if you buy things. I get it at Costco and it comes in like a 3-pound bag. If you leave it out on the counter, it'll go bad before you get a chance to use it. So leave it in the freezer. Just flashed some rice syrup, which is a non-refined sugar. It assimilates in the body a lot better than just your white processed sugar. Getting everything together. And here we go. Bananas. Flax, non-dairy milk. That flax sort of mimics eggs because it is a vegan recipe. We're going to get all that mixed up together. So the brown rice syrup went in, and the recipe also calls for agave, which I don't really care for, so I'm going to put date syrup in instead, or you could use molasses. If you are not a huge vegan stickler, you could use honey also. I'm going to put a dash of vanilla extract in here too. It just gives it a little more depth of flavor. I like the date sugar or a molasses product because it just kind of rounds out that deep flavor of everything. So I'm sifting out some flour, which you don't have to do. Again, I'm putting the spices in there because there's cinnamon and nutmeg, some baking soda, a little salt. And again, I'm going to put all this through the mixer because it's still able to be used that way. Now the recipe calls, obviously you can see I put some oats out, calls for oats, and again I'm doing a recipe and a half, so it's 3 full cups of oats. It's a lot. And then a cup and a half of raisins, and you could use cranberries, you can use apricots, you could use any real combination that you want. And it also calls for nuts, so at the end we're going to put all these other ingredients in by hand because it just gets too thick for the blender. I have to give a nod, and I'm not compensated in any way, but I, on a whim, bought some walnuts from nuts.com, and they are the best things ever. They're probably the best flavor of walnut I've ever had. So we're going to use those today, and those are going to show up again because I'll probably do some other recipes with them to really sort of showcase the walnut because they're so good. They're really good for you also. So we got everything chopping up here. ready the silpats, and I have a 1/4 cup scooper, like an ice cream scooper, cookie scooper thingamabob, technical term, and gonna scoop some good size balls of this cookie out onto this tray. I'm gonna stagger them a little bit, and they don't really spread out too much. I'm just gonna kind of hit them with a fork before they go in the oven for, they take about 15 minutes at 350 to cook, and I did a batch and a half, so I got over, I want to say I got almost 2 dozen of that size cookie, and it's about the size of my hand, and they are delish. I hope you give this one a try. The recipe and everything, I'll throw it up on my blog, and there'll be a link below to the author of the recipe's website, Isa Moskowitz, and she's fabulous. So enjoy them. The aftermath. That's what happens when you bake or cook. These are delicious. Fabulous for breakfast. A little coffee, maybe some tea. They're so good. And they're really not bad for you. No refined sugar. Just some raisins or whatever fruit you choose to put in them. But I wouldn't recommend eating them all at the same time. Maybe just